Hello, curious humans. It's George Howard, aka the Cosmic Tusk, and I am here today with Raul Bilecky of Pillars of the Past, which you may have seen on YouTube. And before we introduce Raul and begin our discussion, I just want to remind you that we will be having a Cosmic Summit 2026. The question is, when will we have it? And I just actually just emailed the hotel and said, let's kick around some dates. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but we're going to get serious now. It still hinges on us getting sponsorship, but we have begun our outreach for sponsorship. Barely, but it's really kicking in next week because this is the holidays. And I think it's going to go pretty well. So we are excited to be on the verge of announcing Cosmic Summit 2026. And we got a lot going on. The social media, it continues to get absolutely bananas. We're getting 1,200 new Facebook followers a day on average. And one weekend, a few weeks ago, we got 20,000 in a single weekend. So people are taking an interest in our subjects. It's all about the subjects, and we have the entire constellation available to you at the Cosmic Summit and on our social channels, which you can find at Cosmic Summit on all the major platforms. Please follow us, like us, share us, and do the same for Pillars of the Past and Mr. Raul Bilecky, who has just returned from Peru to give us his report. How are you doing, Raul?
I'm doing all right. I'm
yeah.
I was talking to Mike Collins and Will the other day, and
yeah.
I wanted to say, like, the hard part is done. I was in Peru for 42 days.
Okay, I was going to ask 42 days. I knew it was an extended adventure.
Yeah, and it just and I still didn't make it to all the places I wanted to make it to. I mean, Peru is just so rich with ancient history, places to explore, and I mean, my thing is going to the sites that are, well, not that easy to get to,
Yeah.
and so there's a couple of days where it took 6 hours just to get to a site, and then you got to take 6 hours back. So it's
that's outrageous, man. That is tough traveling, and those are not easy roads.
Oh no! I remember
get out of the car, and you got to go probably walk elevations in the whole 9 yards. Just the hikes are strenuous. But tell us more.
Well, the road between Huaraz and Huánuco. I mean, calling them roads is being generous. But I literally had a bruise on my leg from bumping into the door because it was so bumpy in the car. And you're right, and then hiking. I tell you what, though, the adventure itself fuels the spirit. Just make sure you're prepared with enough water. The beauty of these places. I mean, it's just I've never felt so alive,
Oh, man, that is wonderful. I mean, you are living the life, buddy. And for people that aren't familiar with Pillars of the Past, and Raul and I were speaking just a moment ago, and we should elaborate on it more, finish our discussion, but it's in the Uncharted X genre. And we were trying to name what this genre is. You want to say cinema verite, but I mean, that just doesn't sound right. And that's got something to do with old French films or something. But the idea of going in, we called it the Explorers Club. We had a number of people, and Raul was a part of that at Cosmic Summit 2025. And the Explorers Club, what I was trying to do was get together this genre, which is basically people that go with GoPros on their head and go take a real look at it for other people, and don't edit it heavily, and you don't really know what they're going to come up on. And it's just good stuff. So what do we call the genre? And how do you feel about, do you watch other people doing this? And what do you think about this whole way?
I do. I think that, I mean, just going back over some of, I mean, it's just as real as it can get. It's like you said, it's not heavily edited except for, to maintain the flow of a story or something like that. But when it comes to, footage in the field, I mean, I love editing my stuff because when I'm editing one of my videos, I'm reliving it, and it's just so honest and real. Like, holy crap, there's this thing. You experience, the viewer experiences as I experience it, and it's that real reaction, that real response time that, I mean, and not only is it showing and documenting places that have very little documentation, you get to experience it like you were there, you know, and so it's just, and I don't know. I also just feel with the age of AI, you know, booming and all these things that are happening with cinema and video, this is just, it's as real as it gets.
It is a counterbalance to all that, isn't it? It really is a counterbalance to it. And maybe that's what I kind of recognized when well, you know, now film has become, I mean, it's completely without provenance anymore. I mean, and then maybe you can spot it these days and you can get a feel or whatnot, but the day is coming, just like the written word, where you have literally, it will be the exception when someone is actually doing it.
You know, it's funny. I can't tell you how many comments have been on some of my posts where, you know, people saying this is fake, this is AI, and
oh, really?
Because predominantly a lot of that comes from like some of the skulls I found in the desert and all that. And my only response to that is like, just watch the full video, you know, like experience it as I experience it, you know, but it's because also, I don't think there's a lot of people out there that, I mean, who expects to walk in a burial ground where there's bones scattered all over? People don't know these places exist. You know, so to some people, they must think it's AI until you're there, you're with me, you experience it, and that's the other reason why the importance of what I've been doing has grown over time, just in the recognition that people aren't aware of these things, you know, aren't aware that there's history being lost right there.
Well, you've demonstrated that as clearly as anyone, and what we love in Egypt is all relatively protected. I mean, there's certain threats to it, and it's all relatively well known. It has people crawling all over it. You're going out to places that we still haven't seen that are taking a hell of a beating, man.
And it's just it's a shame. Eventually, I'd love to work with the Ministry of, if anybody's out there and the Ministry of Culture is watching, like, let's talk. I mean, I would love to, I mean, not only provide, I mean, some of this footage, the 3D models, things of that nature, to the historical patrimony of the heritage sites in Peru. I think it's important that they have these things, but also I do recognize that besides looters, nobody is going to the places I'm going to because it's just so hellish to get to. And I mean, you really want to go, you really have to want to go there. And so the Ministry of Culture, in my opinion, just doesn't have the manpower either to be vigilant at all these places. It's impossible. So I don't really know what the solution is, but you know, as far as where I stand is document things as they stand, because you never know what's going to happen next year or in the future. And it's important to know what these sites look like, how they stood, where they are. You know, who knows what alignments they may have had, what artifacts are there. Because if they're not sending anybody, then we're just never going to know.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's get into some specific, but first of all, none of your recent trip has not made it to YouTube yet, correct?
Correct. I'm working on the first video now. I've only been back for a week, so I have got my work cut out for me. I've got about 5 terabytes worth of footage. So
holy moly, man!
Yeah.
I also just think it's interesting that guys like you and girls too, you like Johanna, that go and do these videos. You've kind of one sorting of who you folks are, you valuable people, or happens to be the random skill of you're willing to be your own video editor. You know, like Ben Van Kerkwijk, you, Johanna, on and on. When they go to these, they're all y'all are good video editors because these are small operations. You know, it's not like the Discovery Channel where you just go walk around and they take care of it back in the production room.
No, I mean, I'm getting to the point where I wish I had a video editor, and for anybody listening, keep an eye out on my posts, because I mean, the 5 terabytes is a lot. And I think we started out this conversation like I wanted to say the hard part was done, going out for 42 days and taking a beating and discovering all these places.
Yeah,
I feel like the hard part's just starting because of the editing.
What are those skills of editing? I just don't know how you would select, how you work it down to 20 minutes when you have 100 hours. Whenever I've tried any video editing, I just find it so anxiety producing, because you got to leave so much on the floor. You got to be so cruel.
Well, what I'm thinking of doing is having 2 different versions of like each site. So there's going to be the short narrative that, the 20-minute version. But then for people who like longer stuff, I have the footage of I'll cut it down. It won't be the 3-hour trek into the valley, but maybe an hour's worth, and so people can experience the beauty and the nature. And I mean, some of this stuff is just truly breathtaking. I mean, you're there, and I was literally all over Peru.
Over it. And you probably experience a lot of trail magic. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I've seen that in your videos. That's what's so charming about them, is what make it interesting. And I'm sure for every bit of trail magic that you show us, there's a dozen others where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. That person picked me up, that this person happened to know that, they knew this farmer. Give us some trail magic.
So I was in between Cusco and Lake Titicaca, a place called Sicuani, and I was staying at this little hostel, and I ended up talking to the woman who owns the place. And there's this area in Cusco called Chumbivilcas, and she happened to go there a month prior with the president of that community, and she put me in touch with him. So on my way back from Lake Titicaca, I stopped in that region, met up with this guy, and we went on a 6-hour excursion, predominantly because I wanted to find, there were these structures built into the cliff walls that reminded me of the American Southwest, and I had never seen that before in Peru. Okay. So and he, I mean, I met him in the little town. We drove for a couple hours, then hiked for a couple more hours, and I would have never met this gentleman had it not been for the woman whose hostel it was. And then just the willingness and the time that people have been willing to spend with me, their whole days, to show these pieces of their history, to show these pieces of their heritage. And I mean, that's one of the things I loved most about this trip, is the context that I have for the future. Eventually I want to start doing tours, some off the beaten path tours, and it's these local people who are going to help make that possible for me. Mm-hmm. And for everybody else, for people who might come on these things. I mean, these are places you do not get.
So you're telling me in your 40 some days, you didn't visit Machu Picchu, did you?
Not this time. No, I went everywhere but Machu Picchu.
That's right. I went down there a year ago. The 13 months ago in November, and didn't visit it either. I was at Sacsayhuaman. That's what I wanted to see. I had limited time, and I was down there for other purposes. Supposed to go on an ayahuasca trip, but didn't end up doing it.
I remember you talking about that last year.
Yeah. And but I had other blessings came from the trip. It was interesting. Didn't go for that. The original purpose wasn't accomplished, but I had a lot of insights based off of that trip. That's for sure. But we didn't go to Machu Picchu, but you're stepping way out though. This is not just Sacsayhuaman and then Ollantaytambo and all of that. Then you're moving out to the fantastic Corral culture. What is the other name used for it? I always call it Corral.
The Corral Supe culture.
Supe?
Yeah, it's because Corral is in the Supe River Valley.
Is it?
But the culture is called the Norte Chico.
Norte Chico. Okay, I've heard that too. Okay. Well, I'm a little bit new to Peru relative to some of these other things like the Middle East, but I had missed how geographically extensive it was. I thought it was just that main place called Corral or whatnot,
Oh
which is
no.
impressive on itself. And then in your last series of videos, you show the spread.
Yeah.
Was that your interpretation, or is that the mainstream says these people, all these are tied together? Because you were using, for instance, the circular inset.
Right.
So and explain that, if you will.
The Norte Chico occupied 4 river valleys. You had the Supe Valley, the Raul Valley. They're all right next to each other, these little river valleys.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did in that video, I think it's called Peru's Ice Age Genesis, is so you have these river valleys down here, and then further up north you have the Chasma Valley. Well, in my research and from boots on the ground, I noticed that the same architectural structural design that they had down in the Norte Chico cultures was also happening up in Chasma, which is, several hours away. And ironically, and it hasn't been mentioned mainstream in any archaeological sense at the moment, but they're dated to around the earliest occupation periods are dated to around the same time. And I'm like, well,
and give us that time period. This is a long time ago, right?
This is a long time ago.
This is no Incas.
No Incas.
Years
this
before
is
the Incas. Yeah,
1,000 years before the current dating of the Great Pyramids of Giza, like 3,200 BCE, up to 3,400 BCE. That's like the Corral pyramid structures.
And their platforms were just as large as the pyramids, weren't they? I mean,
they were massive.
Not as high, not as much bulk to it, but these were massive.
Absolutely. And what's ironic is I didn't even know this until I made that video and started doing research on the sites that I went to. I actually ended up going to sites that were older than Corral, older than that 3,400 BCE. They dated back to 4,000 BCE. Had the sunken circular plazas and everything. Yeah. And it's actually, I would find in my research that the Corral Supe, the Norte Chico, they didn't start in that Supe Valley. They started a few valleys up north in the Fortaleza Valley, if I recall correctly. And you see the sunken circular plazas. You see the similar U shapes that the 3 temples usually make. And then you trace that up into the Chasma Valley, and you're seeing that same sunken circular plaza. And you're only seeing that because archaeologists dug underneath one of the temples in Chasma and found this older structure. And so I firmly believe that there wasn't much difference between the people living in the Norte Chico regions and the people living in the Chasma regions. I think that they were all connected.
And the incredible thing about that culture is they were peaceful, right? There was 1,000 years, and they have no weapons or signs of war,
right,
whatsoever. That's pretty rare in ancient times.
It's very, very rare. And they had this great symbiotic relationship with the people that, because Corral and all these places, they're built further up into the valleys. And they didn't find, there isn't much evidence of any agriculture. What was happening, the only agriculture was cotton that was being grown. That cotton in those valleys was being traded with their sister sites on the coast for fish.
Right.
So they would use the cotton to make nets and then give them fish back. So it was a very pescatarian culture for 1,000 years,
Well, pescatarianism seems to have worked really well for them. 1,000 years of peace.
Yeah. Well,
it's unthinkable, but it's interesting to know that we can organize ourselves that way.
Yep.
One of the most significant early cultures we know of was entirely peaceful for a millennia.
Yep.
That means there's something about either the way that they set things up, because I doubt human nature was any different.
And I think that No, I mean, I agree with you that human nature is human nature. And so I don't know, maybe things were just bountiful. They had,
Yeah, it just worked.
it just worked. And maybe, you know, some sort of catastrophic event, forced people to become more survivalist in their mentality, and that's when wars started and territory started to expand and get taken. So that's, but it's weird. It's like the oldest culture didn't have warfare.
Yeah. Well, let's talk catastrophes. I am a catastrophist. Are you?
I believe something happened. I believe we are missing a. I do like what Hancock says, you know, a civilization with the amnesia. I mean,
it's actually Immanuel Velikovsky, but
okay,
yeah,
okay.
Great effect. No, I think he credited him, but yeah, that's Dr. B.
I mean, you know what I'm really interested in is what's underneath the water on the coast of Peru. Because we have cultures that were, I mean, I've been there, temples that are literally, you're standing on the temple on a cliff on top of the ocean. And so, and I actually looked this up. I was like, why hasn't more underwater archaeology been done there? Because I mean, the sea levels were lower at one point. And there's no doubt in my mind that there are structures probably out in the ocean. The problem is because of the Humboldt current, it's really, really hard to do any archaeology off the coast. There's like, almost nothing has been done down there. And I mean, eventually, if I had all the money in the world, let's find, and that's hoping that things still exist in the turbulent waters that are off the coast, you know. But circling back to, you know, the cataclysmic events, I think there have been several over time.
Do you believe what that you have seen there? Do you believe, suspect, have a hunch that may have predated the Younger Dryas event? Or do you not?
There are structures. There is evidence of occupation pre Younger Dryas cataclysm, right there on the coast of Peru. I mean, you can just look on Google Earth and see that wind and water and it has just bombarded the coast of Peru. So the thing about it is, though, over time, you might not have much left. But there is the site of Huaca Prieta on the coast that is there's an academically accepted date of, I think, 14,000 years ago.
Really?
So 12,500 BCE, right around there. And so they were building pyramid structures, but with mounds, and they would and Dr. Barnhart speaks about this because later cultures would do this too. They would pile their refuse, their trash, and then cap it with like adobe mud, and so it became a pyramid. And so you find that on the coast of Peru. Ironically enough, there's evidence at Huaca Prieta, and I didn't know this until doing my last video, of a sunken circular plaza at Huaca Prieta, and that is dated to around 6,000 BCE. So,
what kind of evidence? Like someone?
Tom Dillahay's team found it. I mean, it's there. You can look at on that video. It's Peru's Ice Age Genesis. I show the archaeological data that shows the sunken.
Gosh, I'm sorry. I must have admit that. I know I started that video. Maybe I didn't finish it.
It's one of my long ones. But so what I naturally have, the conclusion I came to is this is the oldest evidence of a sunken circular plaza we have at Huaca Prieta, 2,000 years before the Norte Chico culture. So there's no doubt in my mind that they influenced that. So I think, like, I know Graham Hancock is going to be writing a book on these, on those cultures, because these pyramids are amazing, and there's just so many of them too in these valleys, and it goes a lot further back than we know. It just everything continues to keep getting pushed back.
Except I always say, Graham's great line is everything keeps getting older, but I dimmed that with except cosmic impacts. That's something that's supposed to be a long time ago, and we keep bringing it forward.
That's a good point.
Right? Yeah, they're kind of moving around, in opposition to each other. Huh. So, did you go to Tiahuanaco, and did you get down to Bolivia and all that?
I did not. I did not do Bolivia.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head, I was in Chiclayo, Tucumán, Huaraz, Ayacucho, Huánuco, Espinar, Puno, Cusco, Sicuani, Livitaca. Just all these places, and sites I had never heard of before. And there's one site that it's a megalithic site that is unregistered with the Ministry of Culture. And I made it a point to, that's the first video I'm working on to put out there. The townspeople have written to the government like a decade ago to try to get somebody to come out and take a look at this site. Nobody's come out yet, so it still remains an unregistered site. And
how'd your wife feel about you going for 40 days?
My fiance, she was very supportive. Very
okay,
very
supportive.
Good. She, as I'm going through the footage and showing her, she was just surprised at how many people I ran into, how safe I was the entire time. Because I never felt unsafe, other than like my own being on the side of a cliff and driving on these crazy roads.
Have a heart attack while you're out there. Yeah.
But the people, the people were just so damn supportive of showing me these places and these sites.
I thought the Peruvian people were wonderful. I didn't feel unsafe for a moment.
So the locals know of this place and go there for, lunches and things of that nature. It is my firm belief that this was...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
There's this section here in the middle. All of it is megalithic. But what I started to notice was there appeared to be... okay, that part's like on the left side there.
Yeah.
This looks like ancient megalithic construction.
Yeah.
But these towers here, I believe, were Spanish.
Towers you don't see a lot of towers in these older temple sites,
no. And the history I got from the gentleman who took me was that this used to be a mining area. So there's also what also tells me that this was Spanish.
There, look at your buddies.
So what I think is that the Spanish came and repurposed this site, and we're also using it for mining, because there is these things on the right. They're actually chimneys. They're actually chimneys, and you can go inside of them. They're pretty damn massive. So this site is not registered.
I was about to say, I don't see any parking lot or interpretive center.
There will never be a parking lot there.
You're it's out just in the sticks. So where is that in Peru? Generally, or just
in the Ancash region?
Yeah. How far is it from the Sacred Valley? The only place I went.
In
Cusco. Hundreds of miles.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. It's completely different.
Nowhere near. It's nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Completely different region. Let me see what else I got here. Oh, these are the
the cliff dwellings.
but they're not dwellings. They're tombs.
Oh, really?
So this is at 14,000 feet above sea level, and they're just everywhere, everywhere.
That causes some travel stress too. And I experienced that when I was there, and it's actually I was recovering from a broken ankle too, and I noted when I got home to people, I said, "How was your trip?" I said, "Well, Peru is a nation of stairs." Right. And I went down there knowing that I really couldn't do stairs. So like some of it I looked from afar. I got to get back down there.
Well, this is when you get to the tombs.
Yeah. Any grave goods? I mean, probably, just shards and stuff. Oh, there's skulls. Damn, man.
This one is definitely elongated on the far right.
Good Lord, it sure is. Sure as hell is. And it's still just sitting there.
Oh, wait till you see what's in here.
Uh-huh.
And to catch my breath.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. I mean, that is Indiana Jones. Were you getting kind of creeped out? Were you alone in there?
No, I'm with the president of the community.
That's an elongated skull. To the left.
Actually, yeah, you're right. I didn't even catch the elongated skull until Mike Collins pointed it out on when I did his podcast last week. But this is each of these places has this in them. Just the remains. A lot of it's been looted.
Have you watched Jesse Michaels' documentary?
Yes.
I tell you, if that one of the most that's about the elongated skulls, or not elongated skulls, it's about the alien mummies. And
I'm abstaining from. I can share an experience with those, but for the time being, I am abstaining from passing full judgment on them. So I was able to do an interview with Dr. Zuniga at the Ica University, and I saw these things. I will say that they've done a great job releasing their DICOM files and their CT scans, but I think one thing that people ought to know, their full CT scans have not been released. They are partial CT scans. And I asked Dr. Zuniga, point blank, I just said, why don't you stop scanning these things halfway and just do a full scan of one? Because without the full CT scans, nobody can do a proper eval. So that's one thing. I actually also met the grave robber who is responsible for finding these things.
There's some question about whether that's the actual location, even to those that support it, right?
I only found it. I would talk about the trail magic. I was staying at another hostel, and the owner actually knew the guy, and so he took me to his house. And so I went to the guy's house.
The fellow that discovered the mummies?
Yep.
Damn. Okay.
Yep. And so
you get an interview?
He wanted to charge me $300 to ask him 20 questions, and I said absolutely not. I asked him my questions anyway. He was very dodgy, and I will say I'm still. I have footage of all this too. trying to work on ways to get it out there.
It's going to be great, man, if you're interviewing them, because people are hungry for follow-up of any kind.
I will say that there's a lot of money being made on under the table.
But how are they making money through like the attention that Jesse's bringing it? I'm not calling it into question, but I mean, because that's one of the things I found kind of compelling. I didn't know, how are these guys, if they're frauds or somebody's frauding, where's the income?
Buyers across the world who are into these things, whether or not they believe they're real or fake. Some people think they might just be pieces of art, but collectors, and they are
really
purchasing them for large numbers.
Really? Okay. Well, there's if I remember Jesse's thing correctly, what were there, like 5 or 6 of them in that?
Oh, this guy said for each, the Vaquero said for every 10 that he's turned over, he has hundreds. That's what he said. And so,
but just the fraud part, showing the fetus in there, I guess that'd be a great thing for a fraudster to do. But and just the detail of the bones, I mean, that's just not easy stuff to do. A CT scan, it just seems, would show you the wiring in there.
It's I was shocked to see how much money was involved with some of the stuff that's going behind the scenes. And with that, if these are frauds, if they are, there's enough money to do that.
Okay, there's some motivation there.
There is 100% motivation. I will say that there are, like Dr. Zuniga, and a couple other people who are involved with the research. I could feel their authenticity. I could feel their sincerity. I can feel their desire to want to believe, their openness to being wrong. Also, if should it come out, that was a big thing for me. Just to hear that they have open invitations for people to come down to Peru and study these things.
Right.
And
was
so,
the Nego, the doctor, was he one of the lead researchers? I mean, the lab
yes.
coat guys. Okay.
Yes, and I just kind of pushed him to say, like, just as an independent researcher, I think the thing to do is release full scans of these things, and because that's, let people peer review them, and then put it out there. I think that there is there's a lot of things pointing in both directions. I mean, my Twitter feed is just all supporting and then debunking and supporting and debunking. So that's, and I kind of said that to Dr. Zuniga. I said it's a very controversial topic right now. Why not fund and release full scans?
How did he respond, Raul?
He to that question, he said, well, that's not a bad idea. I don't know whether he's going to follow up on that. I also said, because nobody knows where the Vaquero is getting them from. I say, how are you still receiving these things, not knowing the provenance, not seeing them taken from there? I mean, that's the first thing any researcher or either independent or academic should look. Where are these things coming from? Who has the videos of these things being exhumed? Those need to be seen. You need to, at the start of where these things are coming from, in order to follow the path and make sure everything is kind of in order and not futzed with.
I don't know, man. I found it compelling. I mean, I can be a sucker sometimes, but it just, it's like Piltdown Man of the 21st century, where somebody's piecing together. And I just think with all the tools today, you'd be a fool to try to pull it off and somehow paper mache something up that looks so elaborately anatomical.
I mean, I would love nothing more than for for it to be announced that there is a new species of hominid or some sort of extraterrestrial thing. I would love nothing more than that. I am abstaining from
going in. Route.
Say that again.
I said you're an agnostic
on that.
Hands up.
Until I see it. I mean, just because there's also a lot of again, questionable stuff. I mean, I'm looking for the provenance. I'm also going off of my personal experience talking to the guy. I mean, he's a little. I mean, he's a vaquero, so he's gonna be a little shady and dodgy. I do believe the sincerity of some of the researchers. There's also, I mean, at least on my Twitter feed, there's also a lot of people providing evidence for some of these things some parts that do seem falsified. And there are, I forget the names of each of them, but some of them have been found to be falsified. Okay. So there's that. There's others that look remarkable in the scans. You know, they just don't have full scans yet, and I don't really know why.
Seems like if you provided a partial scan, that would be almost as difficult. I mean, why not just fake the whole thing and just show? I mean, you just kind of open yourself to criticism. And why would you fake just a portion of it? I don't know. But
I mean, I don't
know.
I don't know either. I think I
think you're taking the right position though, because you're in a different lane, man.
Yeah, I mean,
you're in the architectural and archaeological lane.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to believe, and once the evidence, shows it, I will wholeheartedly go along with it. But right. I also, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of research, and so I mean, my whole thing with my channel here is to present what I find, but also present the both the academic and alternative sides to what's been said, and then my personal impressions.
Where do your understandings most clearly diverge from the academic?
I mean, really, the fact that all around the world you have similar structures, similar symbols, similar mythologies. I mean, I do believe that I don't believe that a precursor civilization was.
Hey, that's my term. I love it.
I don't believe that it was just a centralized location. I believe that my personal belief is that some sort of precursor civilization had vast reach, and I think that there has been so much that's happened over time, that so much has been erased. So much. Look, our technology keeps evolving too, to understand the skulls that are being found, and the new species and hominids. Our dates keep getting pushed back. So
the Homo florensis stuff I still find was the most amazing damn mainstream thing of the last 25 years. That there was a different kind of human that lived on an island.
Yeah,
I mean, and looked like a hobbit.
Yep.
I mean
And so I mean, I will say that as somebody who's found elongated skulls all over Peru, because this, what I just showed you is in a vastly different region from Nazca, where they were also elongating their skulls. It's like, where did that come from? You don't just do that on a whim when your child's born. The idea to do that didn't just come from nowhere. There had to be something that sparked they
had to be imitating somebody. That's why they had to be imitating them. I mean, Akhenaten had it too, the Egyptian pharaoh.
Yep.
He said damn thing's 2 foot behind his eyebrows, know.
It's very strange. It's very strange.
Extraordinarily strange. Hey, can I trouble you for a little bit more technology? I'm just feeling like you're probably a fun guy to fly around Google Earth with.
Yeah.
Pop up Google Earth and just take us on a little Raul, off the cuff, no agenda. Show us Peru.
Let's see.
Show us it. Actually, in a business where this was a regular part of my business, and I loved it. We'd sit in the conference room and just fly around.
I love it.
Yeah, see what we could find out there. Try to find places to restore wetlands in that case, which is just built for Google Earth.
Let me see.
When I first started in the business, I had to go to the county farm offices and pull out black and white maps, often over 20 years old. And then within the space of my career, it turned into Google Earth, man, which is the most amazing tool.
The landscape here, it's all wind, you know, wind of this place is so close to the coast. So here in the Supe Valley, you know, the new sites they found, I mean, they're just, I don't know, there's like 20 sites all in this valley.
You're saying new sites that they found that are...
I mean, they haven't been excavated. They're working on them. I mean, like this architecture here. This is another pyramid. It's right across from Corral. I think one of the ones I did in my video is called Era de Pando. That's... I mean, so I see this stuff, and I mean, it's architecture, structure, these looting pits here.
That's just red meat for Pillars of the Past, man. You got to go, and you have got to go visit that place. I love it.
Yep. We saw that one. Trying to think off the top of my head some of the, I mean, right down here.
Damn. So that's not even kind of the...
This isn't the main
archaeological site.
No. This is...
Good Lord, pull a tape on that. How wide is that whole square feature there? No, but actually pull it all the way across it.
Yeah. I mean, if we do from back here.
Yeah, all the way to the valley. Huh.
400 meters.
Uh-huh.
Which feet? 1,300 feet.
Okay. And those don't look like habitations. It looks ceremonial, right?
Yeah, it looks ceremonial. You see a sunken plaza here.
Yeah.
So that's there was... So just since we were talking when we started off, there's these four valleys: the Huara Valley, the Supe Valley. I mean, each of these valleys had...
Zoom out countrywide. Just let me see where all that stuff sits.
So your Ica's down here. That's where Ica and Nazca are, and then you have so Corral is I don't know, 4 hours from Lima, north. Okay. So I mean, the places I went though. So let me turn this off. So we're down here in Lima. That's where I started. Went up to Chiclayo up here. Flew to Juarez.
Did you drive?
No, I flew to Chiclayo. Then Juarez is here. Cusco, I flew to Ayacucho. So Cusco's down here.
Yeah.
So I started in Lima. I went all the way up here. Went to Juarez. Went to Huancayo. Went to Cusco. Drove to Juliaca and Puno and all these places.
Is that Lake Titicaca?
That is Lake Titicaca, yeah. I mean, I was
close I was to it in Cusco and didn't go down there. I mean, that's a day drive.
It's, I mean,
long day drive.
A long day drive, yeah. I mean, I made sure to stop at places along the way, and then you have Ica and Nazca here. I mean, I was literally all over the country.
Wow.
Let me see if I have I have something for you here. Let me
amazes me how these cultures, how it lived. I mean, you would have lived in that coastal and mountainous and kind of arid thing. But if you walked far enough, which wasn't that far, you went into 3,000 miles of impenetrable jungle.
Yep.
There
Yeah.
had to be a lot going back and forth. And that's one of the things I learned about the ayahuasca is that it was always made in the jungle, but then it was handed up the way until it got to the mountains in the Sacred Valley. They don't grow that stuff there.
No, it's I mean, that's the other thing too. I said it in one of my videos to figure out the chemical concoction needed to make ayahuasca. I mean, that's just wild.
Beyond possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be a food of the gods. There is no way that you're going to come up with that combo between two things and then the treatments they give them. That's not just people fooling around out in the jungle until they stumbled upon it. Something else is going on there, man.
This is one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
It's a place called Huánuco Pampa. So you got the megalithic architecture.
At most of these locations, did you get a sense that I can see why they put it here? I know the coastal ones, that beautiful coastal one with the sunken plaza, you could just see that they were sitting up on the top and they just liked the view.
This was eventually, this is like in central Peru. This site is, I don't know, only 4% excavated. It is massive. Eventually, the Inca used it.
Oh my God, look at it.
Oh, this is just a portion.
Really?
Yeah. That was a ceremonial center there.
And help me out. Is this the Corral people, or do we know?
No, this is in the this is between Juarez and Huánuco. So it's in the central highlands north of Cusco.
Okay. And what is this generally dated at?
Well, they say it was the Inca, mainly because
right, Inca could do anything.
But the reason the Inca utilized this site is it was actually central. Cusco was one of their capital cities, and then Tambo something in Ecuador. This Huánuco Pampa was right smack dab in the middle of Cusco and Ecuador. So they're saying the Inca used these to centralize their power and have the different leaders of the different cultures and tribes come here to to talk shop and expand the empire. So this was like one of their centralized locations. There is evidence that there was pre-Inca establishment here, as there always is. I mean, when you think about it, the Inca really just absorbed all the cultures that were around them. Mm-hmm. So, yes, they made their own constructions, but all their constructions were built on top of prior stuff. But this, I mean, it's the same megalithic architecture.
Well, I was about to say, those are, I mean, when you show the distinction between the Inca stones and what we believe were earlier megalithic stones, those look megalithic. Right. That doesn't have that Inca look.
Well, and so if you go back here.
Yeah.
And you notice that around it are these other stones,
which is just not a part of that original game. And I hate to insult the Inca. They kind of take a bad rap for most of us. But it's something just like Egypt. It's just it's surprising that their skills deteriorated over time. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's just putting the people who can't go there, putting them on site, man. Look at the difference between them.
Well, and what's interesting is if you look down here, let me see. And so what it actually was, it was a whole row of these structures. It was like an MC Escher kind of tessellation.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like it's been troweled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see those scrape marks a lot of places, like the quarries. Huh.
This had to be, honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I got here. It was hell to get here, but it turned out to be one of my favorite places.
What was hellish about it?
The roads. I mean, and just there was no infrastructure out there, so it took hours to get here.
Really?
Yeah, and so you see all this. Let me see. There is one place here. This was strange to me. This stone here, like it almost looks like they had casings around them. I put it on X, and somebody said that they're just weathered and cracked over time. It seems strange to me.
That's strange. Do you believe that they had technologies that allowed them to soften stone?
Yeah, I do. I think that it's a video I haven't released yet. Dr. Barnhart has done some research. The myths of the cultures there. I have family friends who speak about the stone softening materials, and Dr. Barnhart has been very vocal about the possibility of hydrochloric acid being used. The science behind it is, the Inca and pre-Incan cultures were doing a lot of mining, and the offshoot of that mining, you're getting these liquefied chemicals that if you put them on stones, some of the stones they will dissolve. Some stones are harder than others. So what Dr. Barnhart thinks is that they were transporting different chemicals to a site, to a spot, and then applying them there. This here is, check this out.
But there's such a big difference between dissolving stone and softening it.
Well, and so different acids and different ingredients.
Hold on, pop back to that.
So this was, we'll circle back to the stone softening. This is underneath all of what we just saw.
Sure. Yeah.
I had no idea. So that means this place has been 4% excavated. I believe that this type of structure is all underneath that entire place I walked around.
Do you think it was built underground, or do you think accumulated around it?
I think it accumulated around it.
It's all megalithic down there too, isn't it?
It is all megalithic, and it's unweathered like the other ones. This was clearly excavated. There was clearly mud and dirt on top of it.
Well, it seems like the ministry is at least investigating that place. Somebody's giving it some love.
I was the only one there. There's no excavations happening anymore.
Tell us about what's going on at Sacsayhuaman with the excavation there and digging down to those lower stones. Where did that come from? When did it start? What do you know about it?
So, that's been the Chinkanas. I'll be making videos of that too. I was able to interview George Caldero, who is the man in charge of the Chinkana project, and go down into the tunnels, the parts that they've excavated so far. So,
and that's at Sacsayhuaman?
At Sacsayhuaman, yeah.
Okay.
They're currently excavating the tunnels between Sacsayhuaman and Cusco proper, the Coricancha in Cusco. And I mean, that's been known about for centuries. And when I say known about, I mean, you talk to any of the locals there, they know that there are tunnels in existence. The Spanish chronicler accounts talk about tunnels being in existence. And so it's just now recently, for some reason, that, you know, they've put money towards this effort. And there are tunnels, you know what I mean? And so, you know, what's interesting is it'll be awesome to get, I mean, if they can afford to do full surveys of the surrounding area, how many tunnels there are, where do they go? Because some of the stories say there's tunnels going from Cusco to Lake Titicaca, you know, I mean, that would be crazy. But there are, it wouldn't surprise me if, when you go to Cusco there, I mean, you could throw a stone and find a megalithic site. And when I say megalithic sites, sometimes there's stonework, and then other times it's these outcroppings of natural stone that have been carved with precision. And so, and you can go into tunnels there. I went into a bunch of them. There's no doubt in my mind that a lot of those connect with these other tunnels in Sacsayhuaman. What they were used for, the Spanish chronicles, some of them say water, sources of water. Others say, you know, the Inca used them to escape, to hide their gold. I mean, I have an anthropologist friend who's of Quechua descent who lives in Cusco, and he said there's been stories for the past 50 years of people renovating their houses and in Cusco, and all of a sudden they get very, very wealthy and you never see them again. And the suggestion is that they have hit some of these tunnels and found a bounty of gold.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's actually been publicized stories of that from a few decades ago. There was a school that closed for a while and they dug underneath and supposedly found a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, my friend Arnold, who is the Quechua guide up there, you know, I asked him, "Are you expect that they're going to find anything in these tunnels?" He said, "Other than stone, no. Everything's already been pilfered, probably."
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say about the beneath Giza. Crowd, as exciting as that is, I think you're going to get down there, open the door, and there'll be a bunch of empty burkas and liquor bottles. Yeah. There's no way that the locals, the elites, didn't have access if they're giant chambers beneath the pyramids. It's just, I mean, why they kept it from the world, I don't know. I don't know why I don't know why these countries don't seize on the popularity of alternative interpretations of their past.
I mean, I agree with you. There's you know, I think there's actually photos inside the Coricancha of, I forget where I read this, but the Spanish were aware of these tunnels, and the church was aware of these tunnels. And in the Coricancha, where they built a Catholic church, there's a picture of some sort of board or steel plate put over one of the entrances to the tunnels. And so, I mean, they knew. They knew. Why? I mean, I really think it's just a funding thing. I mean, they're doing excavations right there. Tourism is still open. It's not like you have to shut the whole place down.
But the thing at Sacsayhuaman, is that going to reveal new evidence? I mean, it's shown that they go much deeper. What else is it telling us?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Did it just start?
The excavation started, I think, a year ago. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't digging while I was there.
Yeah, no, I would say, and there are megalithic stones. I mean, they have their work cut out for them. I have some of that footage. I got 42 days of expedition. That's why I might have to find an editor at some point to help me out with these things.
Well, let's put out the call right now. It's unbelievable the assistance you can get in some of this stuff. I mean, it's digital trail magic.
I hear that, and I will be I will be making like posts in the soon to near future. I want to get this first video under my belt. Hopefully I'll have that out in the next 2 weeks. And,
okay, great.
And this will be the first video I'm going to start out with is the unregistered megalithic site.
Okay, good. That's cool, man. That's right up. That's your role. I mean, a lot of people that have looked into these things, I wouldn't say you get bored with it, but you hunger for new stuff because there's only so much out there on the internet, and no one else is providing what you're providing, Raul. And we all deeply appreciate it, buddy. And thank you for coming to the summit this year, man.
Okay? Yeah, I appreciate being invited. You are part of the Cosmic Summit family, and we will have you there again. We're probably going to slim down the speaker list, but I've got to keep interesting people like you coming, speaking or not. And you didn't speak last year, except with the exception of the Explorers Club. But actually, we'll keep that. That's a good way to add to the number of people, because you can only fit, if you don't do multiple stages like we've done in the past and whatnot, you can go do 27 people. But I think I'm going to fall back to what we did in 2023, just in case people care. And I think you can squeeze about 14 to 15 in. But if you get some panels in there, you could bring the more.
The YouTube travelers GoPro crowd.
Well, I'll have like I said, I've only been back for a week. I'm literally still cataloging footage and putting names to the footage and locations and things like that. So I'll have it streamlined by then.
That's awesome, man. Well, hopefully we'll pull it off by next summer. It might be getting a little tight. I don't know. Like I say, I'm going to be looking at the dates here soon. So we still got some work to do, but the Cosmic Summit is not going anywhere thanks to its popularity, which people like you have brought it. Right.
Yeah, I would be honored, George. And just to help you plug the Cosmic Summit, I mean, I liked your word choice when you opened. It is truly a constellation of ideas and beliefs. Yeah. And I mean, you put together such a great list of speakers where every topic under the sun you could think of is covered. Yeah. If you're into it, it's there.
Yeah. Well, there's a hell of a lot that we have still got to discover, and there is evidence of it being true. I don't know how to say it. There's just that's why I call it a constellation. There's just a big, it's like what the blind man feeling the elephant,
No, I don't know.
This is the old, that old story of, how do you tell what it is? They're just various pieces and parts, and somehow it all fits together. Right. We just hadn't figured it out. But I think 2026 is going to be a big year, man. It clearly is for UFOs. I mean, good God, can you build the drama any greater? I've just got to add just a personal thing what blew me away. And people may or may not caught it, but I'm a big Fox News guy. I watch every newscast. 3 Fridays in a row, Fox News gave 10 minutes to disclosure. And that thing, they don't do that casually, man.
No, I mean, I would say, because then you see I saw the trailer for Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Yeah, I mean, something's happening, man.
It sure as hell is, man. And I think Donald Trump's probably going to be the guy to hit the Rose Garden with the info. But it is being disclosed right now. Everything short of a president. I mean, when you have the director of national intelligence and / Secretary of State of the United States going on camera saying that we've recovered vehicles, which I can't believe. I used to think that was my hardest stuff for me to believe. I just what do you mean that they crash and whatnot? But I'm taking on. I didn't mean to get in a UFO discussion, but it's going to be an interesting year.
I haven't had any personal experiences or sightings or anything. I'm more than open to them. I'm in the camp of old X-Files. I want to believe.
Yeah. It blows my mind that it might turn out the Star Wars bar scene is true.
Maybe.
That's where they're heading. Yeah, that it's just a menagerie of different types out there, and some are good, some are bad. I mean, it's going to look like a movie.
I hope we see it in our lifetime.
That's right. Well, thank you for making your movies, pal.
Thank you for having me, George.
No, it's a global service, and we look forward to having you back on the Cosmic Tusk podcast, seeing you at the Cosmic Summit. And everybody, please go subscribe, follow, comment, and whatnot, and make Raul even more popular than he is.
Thank you, George.
Thank you very much, Raul. I appreciate it, and it's great to be your friend, man. Be careful out there, okay?
Will do. I'm excited to work on these videos.
You the man. See ya.
All right.